Remember how it felt to me, the laughter and the cruelty. I remember from time to time.
Hi everybody, this is the story behind the song Grown Up from my album I Guess I'm Not Alone. The story is pretty tragic, as are the lyrics to the song, and it's all about bullying, being bullied, particularly me being bullied as a kid, and about thinking back about your childhood or other memories from the past and wondering why you think about them and do they still affect you and why do they affect you still as an adult. And that's the big umbrella idea of the song. Lyrically, it's me reminiscing. Remember those words they said to me. Remember those words of cruelty. And all of that idea of when I was young and being bullied. And then thinking, I remember from time to time and time being sarcastic. And then, but it's all okay now. We're all grown up now. So I'm fine. I'm grown up. It doesn't bother me. When in fact, sometimes it does. But so the story is, I was bullied. Like, I had a horrible childhood in that aspect. Everything else is fine, but I was mercilessly bullied. People, from the time I was in middle school through high school, like, people would call me the F word in the hall. People I didn't even know. That's just how everyone knew me. And I didn't even say I was gay. Everyone just knew I was gay. I didn't. Well, I probably did, but I should have admitted it. Something I did when I was an adult, and when I got called the F word, was able to say, yes, I am, and take it and own it proudly. But obviously a child doesn't do that, and shouldn't have to. It shouldn't have to happen in the first place. But it was terrible. And when people say the whole world is against you, sometimes you may want to believe them, because that's exactly what it was. I lived in this small town, and everyone treated me horribly. The kids did, and then their parents did. Nobody wanted anything to do with me. I had two really good friends, but I don't know if how I would have gotten through without them. Like, I really think that they helped me remember who I was, because the one thing that all of this did was I knew everyone was wrong. It sounds insane, but I knew it. That I knew I was okay, and everyone was just being mean to me for no apparent reason. And I don't know what it was in my head that made me think that way. Like, it was my mom and my grandma. People always said, oh, they're just jealous of you. And they were. But something made me know that I was not the problem. And I think that's really good for me, but I think that's what happens to a lot of kids that are bullied now, is they think they take it on themselves, that there's something wrong with them, and then they take drastic measures. And luckily, that was never in my head. And so I did have all these problems. Like, I was always very outgoing and funny and wanted to be the center of attention, and all that had to be stopped because I couldn't do that, because I knew I would be brutalized. And it stopped me from doing stuff I really wanted to do, and that's terrible. And I knew that I wanted it, so it was like an inner fight. Like, I can't do it. Like, I wasn't embarrassed of doing anything. I was going to get made fun of, and it would be everybody against me. It was like everyone's weirdest nightmare, but it happened to me, and that's exactly how I lived. And so there's things in that song that I wrote that remember feeling all by myself and remember abuse to my mental health. And it's true. Like, that is what happened. And then again, so I remember from time to time, but I'm all grown up now. It's all right. When I got to the bridge of the song, I thought I should kind of change the narrative. I was reminiscing about everything and saying I'm fine, I'm all grown up now. And then I thought, well, why am I thinking about this? So that's where the bridge of strange how you can feel the past and strange how its hold can last. And then I wrote the part that said, still I couldn't give it away because it made me who I am today, with a pause and sad to say. And I wrote that because I believed that, kind of believe that now, but definitely believed it when I wrote it, that maybe I wouldn't be as strong and wouldn't be who I am if those things hadn't happened to me. However, that should not be the way. That is not how life should be. Like, in order for me to be a strong adult, I should not have had to endure like public humiliation and being thinking less of myself or whatever. That's not the way it should be. It worked. I mean, it worked for me, and I'm of a generation, I guess, that was taught to, be strong and stand your ground, and you can overcome anything, but that's not the way you should live your life. The alternative sounds kind of nice. I would have liked to known what it felt like to be happy child and still be a strong person. I imagine that's possible and should be the norm. But so, because that is my life and the way I feel, that's why I wrote those songs, but I don't think that's the way people should live. But these songs were written from my perspective and what I felt, and with the hope that other people relate to them, that's how I feel, or that's what I was thinking as well. And so I guess I'm not alone, the idea behind all that. So hopefully that worked. But again, don't be mean to people just to make them a stronger person. That's just, it's like sociopathic kind of behavior, I think. So when I got through the bridge and everything, and then we went back to the third verse, it occurred to me, I wonder what these bullies think. Now, I mean, they're adults too, and I wonder if people think back, oh, I loved high school, except for I was really, really mean to this one person. Like, does that affect them? Does that work? So I wrote the lines about, remember what you said to me, remember those words of cruelty, and do you ever think about them from time to time? And then I ended with the overall reality was, it's all right now. I guess we're all grown up now, so it doesn't matter. But it does. It's it's a very sarcastic song. It's my brain. You have a little window into my brain of my Gemini-ness of this I think so strongly, but this I also think so strongly. And sometimes they work and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. Sometimes I believe in the astrology of my Gemini sign, and sometimes, it's not real. But that's how I deal with my day every day. So that's the lyrics of the song and what they mean and how they became. Musically, it's pretty interesting. Like, it's a pretty cool beat and everything that's going through it, and I really like it because when you start hearing it, I don't think you're prepared for what the lyrics are going to say. Like, I think it kind of catches you off guard, and I like that. I like that idea. I wrote that music, and the song was originally written when I was working on this album called Into the Blue, and it was, it's also when I wrote Heartbeat. So these two songs were written close around the same time. But that album, Into the Blue, started morphing into this more happiness, and like almost every song is about me and Alfred and being happy and in love. And so obviously Heartbeat was out, but Grown Up I was still kind of working on, and then I had 11 songs, and the album, my executive, Patrick, was going to release it and put it online, and I'm like, well, I should have a 12th song. 11 doesn't sound right. So I'm like, fine, just put on Grown Up. Let's do Grown Up. And then almost immediately after I sent it to him and he said, okay, and started the artwork or whatever, then I said, oh, no, never mind. It's not going to work. It just can't be on that album. I thought maybe because of the introspective lyrics it would work, but it's pretty sad, and so I took it off of there, which is good because neither Heartbeat or Grown Up were really completed at that time. It took all these years to get them the way that they should be, and now they sound really good, and they sound really good for this album. They should be on I Guess I'm Not Alone, and they are. So that is the whole story of the lyrics and the music, and I just have to say, going back to my whole being bullied and everything, when I was in high school and knew that I was right and they were all jerks, except for Melissa, that abuse and bullying that I took as a kid, and knowing that I was fine, I had gone to a different high school. I always went to my grandma's in the summer, and then one year said, I'm not going back to that other place. I'm not going back. They hate me, and I won't live like that. And so I went to a new high school, and I was right. It wasn't me, because I was treated fine. I mean, it was still high school, so people were kind of mean to each other and all that other stuff, but I wasn't openly victimized, and everything was normal, and I had a good life, and I was really happy. But my grandma didn't want to raise another kid. I mean, it makes sense. But so I had to go back to that other school. And on my very first day, the biggest bully I had was a jerk to me in class, like was harassing me, and like, how am I supposed to learn or do anything and when I'm like this? And so then we got out of class, and he pushed me and pushed my books on the floor, and I turned around and started beating him, and we got into a big fight, and then we got pulled out and by the teacher and took us to the principal's office and said, these two were just in a fight, and the proof is right there, and it was that guy's face. And I hate to even admit this, but that is my proudest high school moment, kicking that guy's ass. And I would like to say that that would have ended it all, but it's not how it works. And I don't recommend that everyone just beats their bully, but it certainly feels good, and feels good all these years later. So I wonder what he thinks about all those years ago, and if it ever crosses his mind. But we're all grown up now, so it probably doesn't matter. And that is the story behind the song Grown Up. Thank you.
But it's all